Thank you so much, Samba, for all that information. With that, in fact, let's move on to the top story at this hour, where with less than 24 hours to go before voting in West Bengal, the stage is set for an intense political battle. The state heads into a crucial electoral contest with the ruling Trinamool Congress led by Mamata Banerjee aiming to retain power, while the BJP is looking to make significant gains and dislodge the incumbent. Now, campaigning has ended amid sharp rhetoric and high-pitched attacks, with issues like governance, corruption, allegations, law and order, and welfare politics dominating the discourse. The Left Congress Alliance too has stepped up its presence, attempting to reclaim lost ground in a polarized contest. As West Bengal votes, the contest is widely seen as highly competitive, with the outcome likely to have far-reaching political implications for both the state and the national landscape. With that, let's in fact take you through some of the key statistics ahead of the polls, because this will help us understand who the key players are in West Bengal, how many seats there are, how the voting pattern has been over the years. So let's look at West Bengal, the polls breakdown. The number of seats totally are 294. So these are the total number of seats. The voters, if we break it down in 2026, there are 6,82,51,008 voters in 2026. Men are around 3 crore, women around 3 crore, and the third gender at around 1,257 individuals. So we are seeing this voter breakdown in 2026. Let's compare it to voters in 2021, where we had 7 crore 32,94,980 voters. We had approximately 3 crore 73 lakh men and 3 crore 59 lakh women, and the third gender around 1,590 individuals. So we are seeing a decrease again over here in the total number of voters. The decrease is by 50 lakhs 43,972, and the men are seeing a decrease of around 24 lakhs 31,000, the women around 26 lakh 12,000, and the third gender has also seen a decrease or decline of around 333 individuals or voters. This is all because of the SIR that happened in the West Bengal state, and we saw those deletions that were happening because some people had died, some of them migrated, and some of them in fact had duplicate names. Let's look at the vote share. In 2021 West Bengal Assembly elections, the CPIM or the All India Trinamool Congress had around 48.02%, the BJP around 37.97%, the CPIM at 4.73%, the Indian National Congress at 2.93%, and others at around 6.35%. So you can see, look at that share pie chart where the AITC has the highest share. Let's look at the seat share, total number of seats, like we mentioned, 294. The AITC or the All India Trinamool Congress at 215, the BJP at 77, the CPIM 0, INC 0, and others at 2. So we are looking at the 2021 assembly elections. Let's look at the voter turnout, where in 2011 the voter turnout was around 84.33%. In 2016 we saw 83.02%, and in 2021 it was around 82.30%. So a slight decline, but it's steady above the 80% mark. Let's look at 2021 West Bengal Assembly vote share. Again, the Trinamool Congress at 48.02%, the CPIM at 4.73%, others at 6.35%, the BJP at 37.97%, and Indian National Congress at 2.93%. So these are some of the heat map that we are getting for you. 2021 West Bengal Assembly results, where party-wise you can see the All India Trinamool Congress in green, you can see the GJM in red in some of the areas, one over here, and we have the BJP in the others in orange at 77. So this is the party-wise distribution of the 2021 Assembly results. Let's in fact look at the VIP constituencies. Malda, where we have Gopal Chandra Saha versus Lipika Barman Ghosh and Bhupendra Nath Haldar. Let's see who won in 2021. We have Gopal Chandra Saha. He had a vote share percentage of 45.23%. He got around 93,398 votes and a winning margin of over 15,000 votes. So he won over there. Let's look at Malda past elections, where BJP won in 2021, the INC in 2016, in 2011 as well, and 2006 and 2001 we saw CPI-M winning it, and we have some of the religious and the caste breakup on our screens as well for you. Let's look at Asansol Uttar, where we have Molloy Ghatak, we have Krishendu Mukherjee versus we have Prashanjit Putande, where these are the main candidates. Last year it was Molloy Ghatak who won with a voter share percentage of 52.32%. He got 1,931 votes and a winning margin of 21,110. Let's look at the last 5 elections over here in Asansol Uttar, where over the past 3 elections we have the Trinamool Congress dominating. Then in 2006 and 2001 we had CPI-M and AITC respectively. Let's now look at Bhawanipur, which is a VIP seat again. Mamata Banerjee versus Suvendu Adhikari versus Shrijib Biswas of the CPI-M. Over here in 2021, Mamata Banerjee won. She got 85,263 votes, a vote percentage of 71%. And let's look at the previous results. And in Bhawanipur, over the past 3 elections, it's all a win for the All India Trinamool Congress. Let's again look at Nandigram now, where we have Suvendu Adhikari versus Pratibha Kar and Shanti Gopal Giri. Let's in fact look at 2021 results, where Suvendu Adhikari won and he got around 1,10,764 votes, and the winning margin was of 1,954 votes. Over the past few elections, in 2021 we saw BJP emerge. However, in 2016, 2011 it was AITC, and in 2006 and 2001 it was CPI. And here is in fact some of the demographic breakdown that we have in fact gotten for you. So those were some of the key seats that we got for you from West Bengal, which is in fact also heading to the polls tomorrow. Joining us on this broadcast to discuss how the state will fare is Shauman Mukherjee, who's a political analyst, and Asif Ansari, who's also a political analyst. I welcome you both and thank you for taking out your time and for speaking to NewsX. Let's start off this discussion with Mr. Mukherjee. Mr. Mukherjee, firstly, I want to understand your observations. What are going to be the key issues that are going to make a significant mark in tomorrow, when the voters come out to vote?
Yeah, thank you very much for having me today. So I've been in the state for the last almost a month or so. What I feel is there's a silent undercurrent in favor of the opposition, if I may say. And tomorrow is the first phase of polls, where we have about 152 seats. And very crucial, one of the key elements here is, of course, anti-incumbency. However, the SIR deletions are also a factor here, because a number of people have lost their voting rights, be it for illegal infiltration or anything. But more so, I think people are yearning for a change in the administration, because this multiple scams, be it the SSC scam, the teacher recruitment scam, and the syndicatism that is prevalent all across the state over the last few years. Corruption has come in, has creeped in, and more so because people have become more ambitious, especially the younger lot. They feel that simply giving out doles of 1,500 rupees a month is maybe not the actual way for the state to progress, because the state has a rich history, rich industrial history, rich education history, where you had great thinkers, great informers at one point of time. And today, when you have youngsters moving out to different states like Uttar Pradesh and say Karnataka, people want to be in their home state. People want their home state to grow. So there is a sense of ambitious, sense of being finding opportunities in this state, which I feel over the last few years there has been a trail, and people want to see that there are some fresh ideas, fresh investments that come in, and they all want the state of West Bengal to be part of the growth story that is there of India. So I feel youth voters will be a crucial factor. Women, obviously, both parties, as you've seen, are trying to please the women voters, where both parties are giving out a particular section of amount that they feel that they will prosper. And obviously, another important factor is the violence that happens in the state. In 2021, we saw this murderous assault of democratic rights of people who voted for a particular party. So that is also there in the back of people's minds. People want to come out of this cycle of fear and threat and intimidation, and people want to go ahead, lead a good life of prosperity, of opportunity, and probably take West Bengal back to the golden age that it once was. But of course, having said all that, Mamata Banerjee is an equally formidable force. Nobody can be taken for granted. But BJP, as you see in the state, is trying its best. I think a lot of its force and its thinking and its planning has gone in for the last 2 years. So even BJP is much better prepared as it was in 2021. 2021, the organization was much more scattered, but this time they are prepared as to what they will face. And tomorrow is a big test for the Election Commission as well, because the Election Commission has promised a free, fair, secure, and safe voting environment for all the voters here. So that will be also the first test for the Election Commission to see whether they can do as what they have promised so far. And that will also be interesting to see, because people want to give their voting. They don't want to waste their votes. We have seen in the past how dead voters have voted, how there are rigging of voting in the state. So it will also be interesting to see how the Election Commission comes to the challenge and delivers on what it has promised. The preparation has been massive. There have been central forces that have come in, unprecedented amount of central forces that are there. So we have to observe, but it is a very unprecedented situation in the state where you have BJP and TMC fighting it out, and probably we'll have to see as to how that stands out in
Right.
In the voting tomorrow.
Right. Let me also rope in Mr. Ansari into this discussion. Mr. Ansari, do you believe that there would be an anti-incumbency wave, because there's this 15-year fatigue that some of the voters might feel, or do you believe this will be a very close contest between the TMC, the BJP is making inroads. However, in the end, it will be the TMC who will come to power. What are your observations?
Well, if I can't get your questions properly, if you come again with your question.
Sir, do you believe there will be an anti-incumbency wave, or do you believe that the TMC will come back to power?
Good afternoon, and thank you for having me over on your show. Well, you can see that since the Trinamool Congress has remained the dominant force in the state, winning successive elections and the strengthening the grassroots network. However, the rise of Bharatiya Janata Party in recently year, the significant altered the political questions. The BJP has emerged as a primarily oppositions, but before that the communist was there. After the fail of the Communist Party in West Bengal, BJP has emerged as a main opposition over here, because communists cannot able to pull their vote up. They failed to consolidate their voters, and they failed to convince people that after in the power of 34 years, they failed to convince the voter to vote for them again. Well, if you see the politics often characterized by the high voter participation, strong party loyalties are there at that time, and with the Mamata Banerjee, political tension and clashes are there, as our co-panelist has said that the violence are there. But I must say that the violence is always there in West Bengal politics, because the system of politics in West Bengal differ from the other part of the state. But that violence is quite of the emotional part of the political scenario of West Bengal. It is nothing you can count into criminal activities. Well, like the leaders like Mamata Banerjee continue to play a central role, because she has played a central role while making her presence into a national politics as well as in a West Bengal, because she has been the highest leader in the party. okay, projecting religion identity, all the religion identity and the welfare-driven governance he has been given for the last 15 years. If you see, while the BJP focus on expanding its bases by emphasizing national politics and the ideological appeal, meanwhile the left and the Congress are working on the religion relevance, but the phase changes on the rebuild their supports. So these are the present scenario of West Bengal politics, and we are a day, just a day before tomorrow is going the first stretch of the election, which is going to happen. And as a TMC supporter, we are expecting that the large numbers of voters are going to turn out for this, and they are going to give their mandate in the account of TMC, and the TMC is coming with a
Okay.
full that
Okay.
are flying colors.
Okay, let me in fact get in a last word from Mr. Mukherjee. Mr. Mukherjee, finally I want to understand how the voter turnout will look like from your understanding and observations, and because we are seeing a slight decline, though not so much, but do you believe that now looking at the narratives that have been built in these elections, looking at how the BJP has pushed for in the state as well, the high stakes campaign that the BJP has carried out, do you believe that we will see an increase in the voter turnout?
Certainly, West Bengal has always been a very high voting percentage state, unlike, say, Maharashtra, where usually patterns are low. But what very important thing is that we have to see tomorrow is that even those who wish to vote, they should be allowed to maybe reach the booth. That is very important, because what happens here is that a lot of time, which is unheard of in any other state, that a voter is unable to reach his or her particular booth. They are either stopped at their house gates, either they are stopped on the way to the polling booth. So that is what we have to see. Voting turnout will be very high because there is an anti-incumbency wave that is prevailing over the state. However, what we have to ensure that the correct voters, the person himself goes there and votes, because that is what true democracy really means. And all the expectations and the promises that have been made by the election commission, that have to hold good. But youngsters are yearning to vote. Women voters are a crucial factor. Even the elderly, as well as the middle-aged people who are there in West Bengal, as we have seen, a lot of migrant workers have also come back to the state to exercise their vote. So you see that sense of excitement and anticipation of what we are expecting, and the entire country, and in fact the entire world is looking at West Bengal, looking
Right.
at its history and how important it is going forward in the growth story of the country. That voting
Absolutely.
percentage will certainly be high.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Mukherjee and Mr. Ansari, for taking out your time and for speaking to NewsX. With that, we're wrapping up this bulletin.